Good afternoon, everyone. 4 o'clock straight up. Indeed, a Wednesday edition of Middays with Q. As always, I'm your host, Rich Quinones. 2 hours to play with. We will take you up to 6 o'clock straight up as we are coming at you on this another absolutely just wretched, hot, and humid July 30th. 2025. We are live on Triax57 as well as my YouTube channel at Rich Q or at Rich Quinones, whatever you guys want to plug in there. Also on my X account, among other platforms. So 2 hours to play with. As I mentioned, it is a Wednesday, which typically means we like to do a little woosah. We don't really want to get too fired up on a woosah Wednesday, but we allow the listeners, I guess you can say, opportunities to get under my skin. And typically, we've kind of set it at, 10 to 15 minutes into the program. We'll see. We'll see how it goes today on this Wednesday. Get in on the conversation. You can comment on the YouTube channel. You can connect with me as well. As I mentioned, later in the week, we'll give you some announcements for the show as we turn the page to August. Get ready for some football as well. I want to mention, too, that Back Your Play, it's updated. We've got all the NFL divisional breakdowns. You guys have been just awesome with the downloads. The numbers are going through the roof, and I greatly appreciate it. It's pretty easy to get the show. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, soon to be on iHeart as well. So we definitely appreciate you guys partaking, supporting, and doing what you guys do best. And again, that's BYP, very easy to find on those indexes. So it is a Wednesday, and we've got the trade deadline in baseball. You got the witching hour. A lot of stuff's going on right now in baseball. You can check out the bottom scroll, the Q's ticker. You got the Reds making a move for Hayes from the Pirates. The Yankees trade for an outfielder because of the issues with Judge and the injury. So you got that going on. They trade for Slater. Soto out of the lineup for the Mets. By the way, him and Alonso, I mentioned Soto yesterday and the Mets, and I think overall you look at his stats and you say that's not a bad season, but if you look at his and Alonso's numbers over the last several weeks, they're just really, really bad. You see the Angels starting to make some moves as well. And again, we will follow everything that's going on in baseball because the trade deadline is among us, as we like to say. It is among us. And the Phillies, well, who knows? Who knows? I mean, we can keep going back and forth. We can look at what the Phillies might do, what the Phillies might not do. The trade deadline is Thursday, July 31st. That will be tomorrow, mañana, at 6 p.m. So you still have a little bit of time. Now, there are some names being floated out. So we'll kind of discuss that a little more as the show progresses. Costco is going to join us around 4:15-ish, 4:20, because we want to break down the Big 12. I got some numbers for the Big 12. So we'll talk some college football with him. You've got a lot of, these, I don't even want to say these goofy stories going on in the world of sports. CBS has their shakeup with their football lineup, with their analyst and their broadcast, partners with the color commentary and whatnot. Tiki Barber now out. We'll kind of get into that. Shannon Sharpe, ESPN. This is why you don't fall in love with the OnlyFans, my friends. Out after that $50 million bombshell. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Also, speaking of which, you got these umpires in baseball, which I want to get into a little bit today too, because the umpires have just been absolutely dreadful in baseball. Dreadful. You had multiple instances. You had the issue the other night when the Mets lost to the Padres 7-6, and Juan Soto gets rung up by Emil Jimenez, who basically proceeds to kind of show him up, which was horrible. And then you had last night in the Blue Jays and the Orioles game with Brian Walsh, who was absolutely ridiculous. You know what? Just go to AI. Seriously, get rid of the umpires. I don't want to deal with this kind of nonsense. I don't. So we're going to get in that a little bit. And then you also have this bombshell that just came out with this gambling probe regarding Gilbert Arenas, which I think, again, if you're going to have a gambling, everyone has illegal poker games. So I want to get into that a little bit today. And how about this on a Wednesday? How about this? When we talk about our questions of the day, I'm going to throw it out to you guys. I'm going to throw out the question of the day. And this is for those that are very old school and also like the mafioso kind of feel to it. Question of the day. Today, if you want to go with a little Google, but today marks what? What is the relevance and significance of today? I just gave you a hint, and that has to do with our question of the day. So I already see comments coming in on the umps. I see comments coming in on Gilbert Arenas and, Shannon Sharpe. We will get into all that, a little mixed bag on this Woosah Wednesday. I will say this on this Gilbert Arenas story. So he was arrested today in connection with a federal indictment that alleges the former NBA star hosted illegal high-stakes poker games at his mansion in Encino, California, according to a release from the U.S. Attorney's Office of Central California. I mean, did you see Molly's game? Everyone, look, back in the day, everyone is doing illegal poker games. Seriously, everyone is. Now, Woody, are we going to have the Gilbert Arenas list now? It's because we're not clear on who the players are of this game. This is ridiculous. I mean, if he's convicted and the other defendants are convicted, you're talking about a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison for each count. I mean, look, I know people have their thoughts on illegal gambling, illegal gambling, I guess you can say games, right? But this has been going on since the dawn of time, the dawn of day. Like, is this really where we're at right now? We have nothing better to do? Seriously, we have nothing better to do. You can go into your buddy's house and you guys are playing cards. Seriously, it's ridiculous. The fact that you have a federal indictment charge for poker is just stupid. It is. It really is. It's just the corniest stuff that I've ever heard in my life. I mean, just stop. Every other Friday or Saturday, you guys can go to North Jersey. You can go to South Philly. You can go wherever. You can go in the city. There's an illegal poker game being run. Just please stop with the crap and the nonsense today. Just stop. All right. So by the way, question of the day on this Woosah Wednesday. Since you guys haven't figured it out, I'm going to give you a little hint. It was 50 years ago today that Jimmy Hoffa went missing, which leads me into our question of the day. Will they ever find Jimmy Hoffa's remains? Who knows? He is somewhere, maybe in MetLife, maybe in the swamps, maybe in the Meadowlands. God only knows. God only knows. All right, a couple of minutes past the 4 o'clock hour. Let's crank it up early on this Wednesday. The man chimes in. He knows it is a Woosah Wednesday. Let's see if this one gets deleted too. Man, it does not get deleted. De facto chimes in at 4:09 with his first ball-breaking comment of the day. I thought Vince said no baseball until October. Vince doesn't run the show. De facto, I run the show. Atrocious. Are we talking about the illegal poker scandal? Or are we talking about the umpires in baseball, right? The umpires in baseball. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad, right? Best poker room in AC. I mean, that's, the man might know that. He's the poker player. Casinos hate poker players. They don't want to comp you guys. And by the way, I mean, think about it. What's the only casino that offers that? You have the poker room in Borgata. These other casinos steer clear of it. So again, it's when Henry Hill said no to Tommy for going on a double day. No. That wasn't 50 years. No. Maybe he's in the middle of caucus. I have no idea where Jimmy Hoffa is. I don't think you know. I don't think I know. I think the only two people that know Jimmy Hoffa, who's obviously no longer alive, and the guy that probably whacked him over the head with a shovel and then, put the line pit down, right? Put the line pit down. I don't know. I don't know. This arena story is absolutely fascinating. I want to get into it. The umps I want to get into as well. And as I mentioned, Shannon Sharpe out at ESPN. Oh my goodness. Shake up at CBS as well. And Big 12. We're going to preview the Big 12 coming back on the other side. We got some good numbers, some good odds as well with the Big 12. We will do that with our guy, Nick Costco. What we'll do is we'll take a quick time out. We'll get you guys. I see the comments coming in fast and furious. I want to get you guys in on this Woosah Wednesday. Keep it locked in. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock, 10 past 4 o'clock hour, just cranking it up on a Wednesday edition of Middays with Q. I want to remind everyone, don't forget, as always, get social with us. Very easy to do on X. And of course, on IG at Rich Q on Q. You can follow on the YouTube channel at Rich Quinones. BYP is up, locked, and loaded. Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We got some new drops as well coming this weekend, and you can always catch us Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 with Middays. We'll have some show news to get into on Friday and also next week regards to the show, the platforms, and also what we're going to be doing for the football season. All right, quick timeout. Costco on the other side. Keep it locked in on a Wednesday edition of Middays with Q.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with brews and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
All right, 15 past 4 o'clock hour. It's like a free-for-all with these comments. I see you guys coming out of left field, like 1,000 different comments all over the place. I don't even know what you guys are doing first 15 minutes of the show. I have no idea. I'm going to get to the comments in a couple moments. But we have to welcome in our guy, Nick Costco, who does a wonderful job on 3 Sports and, of course, follows and covers college football like no other. Also, the voice of Are You Wrestling, Cal Live. And, oh, by the way, I have to embarrass him because I know I'm going to get hammered because, the listening audience doesn't understand. I give free passes, right? I don't have any type of, birthday music kind of queued up. I don't know. What do we got here? Let me see if I can, what do we got here? Can I give you happy birthday today? How about this? Now, let me just say this. I told Nick before you goofballs chime in and say, I can't believe you had Costco come on and his savings and come on a Wednesday on his birthday. I literally text him and I said, what?
You gave me the day off. If you you could have done a 2-hour monologue today if you wanted to, but I decided to, give you a breath for, 30 to 40 minutes here.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. Happy birthday, brother. Many, many, many
Appreciate
more.
it. Appreciate you working the soundboard too. I'm glad you're now getting your board
Well,
op skills back.
yeah, I mean, good, nicely produced. I don't know. I mean, there's a couple things in here. They got a magical twinkle. I don't know if I'm really liking that one.
I don't know if I like that with me
Yeah.
coming on. Hope we can get rid of that now.
No, hold on a second. I think it's only like a 6-second twinkle. Hold on. Yeah, we're good. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
I was gonna say you better end the stream and reboot it.
Yeah,
5 minutes
that's
from now.
not my cup of tea. All right, so let's get into a Big 12 championship betting odds for 2025. Got a couple teams we want to pull them up, kind of like what we mentioned last week when we're going over best case, worst case scenario. Now, if you see where I laid it out right there, if you take a look, right, Utah, I mean, everyone's in plus money. Utah, K-State, Texas Tech, Iowa State. We had our guy Hank Potito on a couple weeks ago. Colorado, your Colorado Buffs at plus 220. So let's kind of start with, I guess you can say the ones that have a lot of, we want to say bang for their buck. Let's start with, let's start with your guy Deion in Colorado, right? And it's great to hear that. I know he was battling a lot of health issues, cancer-free. Mentioned he had to make out his will, which is never a pleasant thing. So let's go sentiment right now. Colorado, even though you're a big Colorado fan, not the same roster, obviously, as last season. What's the realistic expectation goals for the Buffs this season?
I mean, the Big 12 is very random, and yeah, thank God Deion Sanders is all in the clear now. It was he had a big press conference on Monday saying that he was, cancer free. He had upwards of 14 surgeries. He had bladder cancer, had a tumor removed, basically had his whole bladder removed. So he's kind of relearning that whole area now of his body, which he was very open and honest with. And he pleaded for other men to get checked, men, women, whoever, to, get checked, which I like that sentiment from him. He's able to focus back on football, but yeah, harrowing story, but he's all good now. Obviously he has to adjust to his new way of living, so to speak, after this health scare, but he's good to go. Colorado to me this year, it's funny, Rich, we were talking about, we've been talking about this program now for 2 years, almost more than any other college football program, whether they deserve it or not, but rightfully so. They gained a lot of hype. He draws a lot of attention. They were better last year. Unfortunately for them, they slipped up in a couple of games, missed out on the Big 12 title game, and they fell in the Alamo Bowl to another, everyone called that game last year, the People's Big 12 Championship, and BYU kind of waxed them last year. Now you don't have your quarterback anymore in Shedeur Sanders. That's a whole other conversation with him with the Cleveland Browns right now. Obviously, the big one, Travis Hunter, two-way star, Heisman Trophy winner. He's no longer there. Now, Colorado does bring some guys back, of course. I think they did a good job at the quarterback position, filling in now for Shedeur Sanders. They brought in Caden Salter, the Liberty transfer. A lot of reps, a lot of great games under his belt from at Liberty. It seems like he's the front runner right now, but Deion brought him and the freshman, the true freshman, Julian Lewis, who chose Colorado over a place like USC and Lincoln Riley, who was a noted quarterback whisperer. Both those guys were at Big 12 Media Days, so that quarterback battle is not quite decided yet. I like Lewis a lot. He could very well be the starter at some point. They're both probably going to play. And now, again, the old adage is if you have two quarterbacks, you have
right.
one. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I think Salter is probably going to be your guy in the end, but I would not be shocked to see both guys early on. Of course, they added more transfers up front of the offensive line, which that's been a circus, so to speak. A lack of a better term. I'm missing the actual phrase I want to use, but again, now you have three new starters up front. Dallin Hayden is back at running back, so that does help. The former Ohio State running back, he didn't get much shine last year's. Again, the run game hasn't been stellar in the last 2 years for Colorado. And on defense, they added a couple new linebackers, a new defensive tackle up front. But pretty much they have to replace. The big thing is, of course, Travis Hunter at receiver and as well as cornerback. So that's a big guy you're missing who was a big playmaker for them. Essentially the star of the team and then a historic quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. So all that to say is I think they're still going to be decent this year. I think it's fair to expect them to get back to the postseason now, whether that means, one of those early December bowl games when they win 6 games, or if they're actually going to go to that 9-win total. I don't think they'll approach 9 wins this year, most likely. They do have a tough opening game against Georgia Tech, non-conference foe, although it's in Boulder, so that does help. Georgia Tech, a bit of a sleeper team in that ACC, as we kind of discussed last week. But, they got Delaware after that. They're at Houston, tough Big 12 game on the road, but they play Wyoming and BYU after that. The schedule isn't too daunting, but we know the Big 12 is just so random. And I think we might have alluded to this maybe a month or two ago when we just said, you know what, let's talk Deion Sanders because we love talking Deion Sanders. They do end the season at West Virginia, home against Arizona State, who made the playoff last year, and at Kansas State, which is one of your favorites this year to win the Big 12. So a gauntlet at the end of the year. But I still think overall it's probably reasonably to expect this team to win at least 6 games, get to a bowl game, and then we'll see what happens from there going into year 4 next year for Deion Sanders in Colorado.
That's interesting. The high water mark, best case, would probably be 7, 8 wins. Now, the one thing that I kind of want to piggyback to what you said, I'm looking worst case 5 and 7, and I'm going to tell you why. They've been able to do what the last several seasons? Build around sensational talent, Sanders and Hunter. Now that pair is gone. Now, I don't know what these other kids are going to bring to the table, the kid Salter or the kid Lewis. I don't know. But as you mentioned, they still have the kid Miller, the wide receiver, right? They got to run the ball a little bit. They need that offensive line. That's something that we talked about over the last several seasons. They got to get bigger, stronger, nastier. I just don't know if those two, right, at the quarterback position can kind of keep that production up. And I think the line is shaky. So to me, I look at worst case, I look at a 5-win team.
Worst case, I'd say, I would say so. You're talking about a Big 12 schedule again. BYU's still a tough game. I know they just lost their quarterback. That was a whole other controversy where I don't think anything came of that, but obviously he transferred. I believe he went to Retzlaff. I think he went to Tulane, if I remember off the top of my head correctly. But that game's at home. That does help. At TCU, never really know where to get at TCU this year. Iowa State, very tough team, but they do host them, which helps. At Utah, again, a lot of these games, Q, are just like, you would think that Colorado, in any normal year, last year especially, like, okay, they're probably going to win that game or have a much better chance to win this game. There's a lot of toss-ups this year, so it's like, could I see them going on the road to Utah and beating them? Sure. But could I see Utah having a tremendous bounce-back season because Kyle Whittingham's one of the best coaches in the country? Absolutely. So, again, it's a very random schedule. Again, not daunting to me, but the fact that they have those last 3 games where I mentioned before at West Virginia, they're hosting Arizona State, which is a very good football team, and at Kansas State, another very good football team in the conference. It doesn't bode well. So to me, worst case scenario, you better hope if you're Colorado that you manage to get 6 wins out of those first 9 games because those last 3 are going to be very difficult. Wouldn't be surprising to me if they lost 3 in a row and finished 6-6. As far as, you mentioned the quarterbacks already and going back to the offensive line, generally the MO right now for Colorado the last couple of years was we need to rebuild the offensive line. They weren't great in 2023, a little bit better last year, but the run production still wasn't there. The pass protection, a little bit better, but Shedeur still got beat up last year. You're just hoping that guys like Salter or Lewis are not going to get beat up this year because you have 3 new guys in the middle at center and both guard positions. I think the only silver lining, though, for that offensive line for Colorado this year, Jordan Seaton, the heralded freshman from last year, is back at left tackle. So that does really help them. Him going into his second year as a starter, it might help the cohesion on that offensive line. But again, you're dealing with 3 transfers most likely out of your 5 stars. So you better hope they gel. Otherwise, again, it could be another long year up front for Colorado. And then you might see, all right, maybe they win 6 games, but it's like, man, they really could have won 2, 3. Heck, who knows? Even 4 extra games where it's like, man, if just one thing went the other way, we're talking about another great season for Deion Sanders in Colorado.
By the way, I'm going to get to all your comments in a second, you goofballs. How about Houston? So I'm thinking best case, and I'm going to make you laugh today. So, which I typically always do. But anyway, I don't know if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but how about this? You got a revamped offense, right? You got the addition. Now, it's not a Costco, but it's a Wegman, and you got the running back, Connors. So I don't know where I'm getting more value on the quarterback, Connor Wegman, or Costco joining me every week. But the defense is much, much better. I think they're going to be above average. Now, again, they got some new faces, at different positions. I think worst case, 5 wins, best case, 9 wins, maybe 8. I look at this as we call them coin flip games, right? The look but don't. Right. I think that's what they have on their on their schedule. So give me your thoughts on your competitor, Wegman.
I mean, for the most part, Houston to me is another team where you mentioned the worst case 5, best case 9. I would lean towards the worst case. I'm not gonna say this is gonna be a bad team, but the reason why, they have these odds for a reason. They're plus 30, the plus 3,500. They're a long shot. Colorado right now, according to the BetMGM, which is what we now use over at On3 exclusively. Colorado has a better chance to win the Big 12 right now compared to Houston. Now, Houston, Willie Fritz, can they make something happen? Sure. Connor Wegman, transfer quarterback, you get a better quarterback in there than what you probably had initially. Yeah, that helps, but we've seen a lot of hit and miss and the injuries for Connor Wegman when he was over at Texas A&M. The good Connor Wegman, yeah, he's really good. This is a guy that they were talking about, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, where he had a short spurt where you're just like, yeah, that kid looks like an NFL quarterback. And other times you're like, whoa, what are we looking at right here? Then, of course, the injuries happen for Connor Wegman, who's only played, I believe, 14, 15 games in his career over the course of the last 3 seasons at Texas A&M. So that's going to be tough. As far as Houston's schedule is concerned, they open up with SFA, again, win there. They should beat Rice after that. But then a pivotal game against Colorado. We were just talking about the Buffaloes. That'll be a big one. They're at Oregon State. Tough West Coast trip. Oregon State should be relatively competitive this year. Texas Tech, who knows we're going to get out of them, but they have spent a lot of money. So for all we know, Joey McGuire is going to coach that team up. Oklahoma State on the road, Mike Gundy maybe feeling the pressure now for the first time in 20 years. So at that point, it's like, I don't know where Houston's going to pick up a lot of wins early. They have to play Arizona, which isn't that bad because Arizona is, I think, pegged universally as the worst Big 12 team this year, or the one under the most pressure because of the bad season they had last year at going 4-8. At Arizona State's a tough game. West Virginia is always a tough game. At UCF, not really challenging, but late season, never know. And then TCU and Baylor. I think Baylor's another team where people I think are going to come back up and rise to the cream of the crop. So tough schedule for Houston, a little bit tougher than Colorado in my mind. Again, just like Colorado, the offensive line underwent a makeshift, was makeshift now through the transfer portal. You have about maybe 2, if not 3 more, new stars up front through the transfer portal. They got a new tight end in Tanner Koziol. I forget. I always butcher his name. I think it's Koziol or Cozy. I forget how to say his name, but he transfers in as a senior tight end. Should be solid. A couple new stars on defense. I think Houston's going to be one of those middling of the road Big 12 teams this year. Not going to be awful, but I don't think they're going to necessarily blow you away. And I think that Colorado game for both teams, for Houston and Colorado, will probably tell you a lot in September as we move through the first quarter of the season.
Interesting. I'm looking at their schedule, and I had to do a double take because they have no back-to-back home and/or road game. It's home.
Kind of always alternating. Yep.
Yeah, you rarely see that.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, they do have a late bye. So after they go to UCF in November, they get that bye week and they get 2 weeks to prepare for TCU and Baylor, back to back those final 2 weeks. So maybe a late season surge based on it. If they get a win at UCF and they get 2 weeks to prepare for TCU, maybe those are 2 pivotal wins, hypothetically, that really elevate the season to get them back to the postseason or maybe a little bit further in terms of the Big 12 picture. But as of right now, I think they're a long shot to win the conference for a reason. But again, the Big 12 year-to-year Q is probably the hardest conference to pick in football. You can kind of always pick Big 10, SEC, the top tier contenders, ACC as well. The Big 12, don't forget last year, and I know it's a recent example, but Arizona State was widely picked to finish last year. They won the conference. They got to the playoff and arguably should have won that playoff game against Texas to get to the semis, but that's neither here nor there.
We talked, we had Hank on about 2 weeks ago talking about the defense that he's part of, coaching staff wise with Iowa State. They made the Big 12 title game last season, right? So they got some returning players, but they also had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. But I just like what that defense has been able to do. The issue is that if you think about their top tier talent, like a Colorado, those guys are no longer in place. But I'll say this, from what they've been able to do over the last several years, they're trending. So you look at best case for Iowa State, 10-2. I kind of feel the same way about Kansas, right? Because they were kind of a buzzsaw in the second half of 2025. Best case 10-2, worst case 5-7. You look at those two teams objectively, who's got a better chance here to make a deep run and perhaps win the Big 12 championship?
Well, Kansas State, if you're referring to the Wildcats, not the Jayhawks, those they are on the short list to win the Big 12 this year.
Which I am. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to clarify that because I mean Kansas. I mean Lance Leipold, just as an aside, very good coach, but you don't know we're going to quite get out of Kansas. Could they be a solid 6-6 team? It's like, okay, back to the postseason, or does Kansas kind of upset the apple cart because Lance Leipold again gets more out of maybe less talent than other teams, and maybe they go 9-3 or something along those lines. But anyway, Kansas State, I like them a lot. Iowa State, very interesting, was we were looking at a lot of lists for how these coaches stack up against each other within the Big 12, and it seems like Matt Campbell's hot again. They got back to the Big 12 championship last year. He's basically coached Iowa State to more football success than we've really ever seen in program history for a program that really hasn't had much grand football success. And they had that big win in the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year over Miami. Cam Ward not playing in the second half aside, they were still really good last year. I think the good thing is for Iowa State this year, you got Rocco Beck back at quarterback. He's a redshirt junior. Carson Hampton's back in the backfield. And the offensive line, you look at the entire offensive line, they're all juniors and seniors. So you have a veteran presence up front for protection, obviously opening up holes for the run game. Two wide receivers transferred in Chase Sal and Xavier Townsend. So I'm interested to see if Iowa State's offense takes the next step this year. They're going to be highly competitive. And looking at that schedule, you already mentioned Kansas State. Iowa State and Kansas State play each other week 1 or week 0, if you want to call it. I hate the week 0, but that's August 23rd. So they're going to be playing, less than a month from now, which is kind of bonkers. But basically, 3+ weeks from now, we're going to see Iowa State and Kansas State go at it on national TV on ESPN, right at noon. So that'll be a not a deciding factor on who is going to be in the Big 12 championship or who might win the Big 12, but that'll certainly be an indicator early on. But of course, we know how these things change throughout the course of a season. But that schedule, to me, sets up for Iowa State to have a really good season. If they beat Kansas State, you're probably beating South Dakota. Now, the Iowa game is always a tough one, playing your rival, but they are going to be in Ames and not Iowa City, so that helps. They're at Arkansas State, should be a win. Home against Arizona should be a win. Then you're at Cincinnati and at Colorado. Maybe you slip up in one of those games. Not really sure, but again, they should be favored even on the road. BYU at home, that does help, and they're hosting Arizona State, which also helps, and not having to go out there as well. The schedule does them some favors where you could see this Iowa State team based on what they have back and what they've been able to do under Matt Campbell. It's like, okay, I could see this team going 10-2, 11-1 with that Big 12 type of schedule. So, I like Iowa State a lot this year. It's hard for me. Again, I don't know who to pick in the Big 12. You're going to ask me for a Big 12 pick. As far as Kansas State is concerned, Chris Kleiman, really good head coach. And again, I think this year's going to depend a lot on what happens in that first week against Iowa State. And again, their schedule's not too daunting either. We mentioned before how it seems like, if we look at Colorado, it's like, geez, those last 3 games are going to be brutal. For Kansas State, now, if I'm going to use that same type of comparison, their last 3 games of the year at Oklahoma State. We don't know what Oklahoma State's going to be this year. They're at Utah. Tough game. They do play Colorado, but that game is going to be at home, so a little bit easier there. I think Kansas State's schedule a little bit more difficult than Iowa State, but they do have teams like Baylor on the schedule, and they also, and I'm not blowing smoke up their butts, but Army's on the schedule. That's actually a tough non-conference game. Army can make things really, really weird. Now, granted, Army has to come to Manhattan, Kansas, not Manhattan, New York, where from around our parts. But Army can make things difficult. So I would say Kansas State a slightly harder schedule this year. So based on just that small logic, I'd probably favor Iowa State, even if they lost head-to-head to Kansas State. They could very well rematch in the Big 12 title game for all we know. So right now, I think I would lean Iowa State to have a bit of a better run in the Big 12 this year, but Kansas State is going to be up there and one of the picks by some experts this year for a reason.
Yeah, and the kid Avery Johnson, he looks like
very good.
He's going to improve. I mean, it's his second season. We always talk about that leap. They've added some weapons, right? So,
also Kansas State, this is what I do. Kansas State beat Rutgers in a bowl game last year, so obviously that is going to propel them to maybe double-digit wins this year.
I think it's going to be between TCU and Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is going to put up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might have one of the most potent offenses in the entire country. I think that's one of the reasons they're prohibited Big 12 favorites. That's just me.
Yeah.
And then
it's funny with those odds too. Looking at BetMGM, it's like like everyone always expects Utah to bounce back. or at
Yep.
least be in contention.
Yep.
Because again, I mean, you arguably have the best coach. I mean, if you think Matt Campbell's the best coach, not going to argue. But if you told me Kyle Whittingham's the best coach in the Big 12, I'm not going to
Look
argue.
at the numbers. I mean, it's pretty much plus 500, 600, 600 for
right,
those
plus
three
500
numbers.
there, and like just going down the BetMGM odds here for the top 5 teams. I mean, even this one has Utah at plus 550, and then Kansas State, Arizona State, Baylor, Texas Tech, all 4 of those teams all plus 600. And then you already mentioned TCU, which actually has slightly better odds than Iowa State. They're plus 800. So it's like this is anybody's ball game year to year in the Big 12. And I mean, that's just the way we love it. The Big 12 is college football's randomness at its peak. If you look up randomness in the college football dictionary, you will see the Big 12 logo every year.
Who do you have winning it?
Man, I really, I'm a huge Utah guy, as you know.
Yeah, you've been definitely drinking that juice.
I know. I've been drinking,
but their offense stinks.
I've been drinking the Utah Kool-Aid every year. I can't pick them. I think I don't want to be boring here. My boring answer would be Arizona State repeats, but I might have talked myself into Iowa State this year, finally getting it done under Matt Campbell. I might have talked myself.
Let me ask you this on Utah real quick. They implement a new offensive system, but you have to have the players. Like if you go back the last several years, their offense has stunk.
Injuries.
I can't.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. The players aren't.
When am I ever? But go ahead.
I mean, the injuries were there. The players weren't there. I think the biggest thing was I think they hitched their wagon to Cam Rising too long. It feels like forever ago when he really starred in the Rose Bowl a few years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, he had 2 more college seasons after that where he barely played, and one where he didn't play. I'm pretty sure at all last year, and it's like, oh my God, could Cam Rising come back in 2025 for an 8th season? Like, no, that's not happening. So I think they set themselves back last year, and for all the negativity that Utah received, like, oh my God, they were horrible last year. Let's not forget, with all the injuries they dealt with last year, they somehow still went 5-7. Like they were 1 win away from. And again, I know everybody makes a bowl game, and like it's not really saying much at this point in 2025, but it's like they were 1 win away last year from being a bowl team. And everyone says, well, the Utes were horrible last year. Maybe Kyle Whittingham should step down now and name that coach in waiting, the permanent head coach right now, and not wait another 2 years. So I get why people want to just be like, okay, Utah's the popular team because, they won 2 Pac-12 titles in a row. They thought they were going to take the Big 12 by storm. They didn't quite do that. I get it. But Utah, to me, should be better this year. I don't think they're Big 12 title game worthy this year. And, of course, that that might come back to bite me in the ass because, again, I'm so high on Utah. Then, like, the one time I'm not, they're actually going to prove me wrong. So, but I can't pick Utah. They're probably, 6 to 8 wins max this year if everything breaks right. So I think, as I said about 2 minutes ago, I think I've talked myself into Iowa State winning the Big 12 this year.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. And I always appreciate the transparency. Let's get to these. These guys are just unbelievable today. Oh my goodness! All right, what do we got here? We got to roll through some of these comments. By the way,
it's like Ringo Starr opening up fan mail here. We have so many.
I don't know what to tell you, brother. I actually threw out the Woosah Wednesday. The Q question of the day. Do you think they're ever going to find the remains of one Jimmy Hoffa?
No, come on, no.
Madman says maybe he's in the middle of Sea Caucus.
I think it's Joe Pesci actually, but.
Vince says, wow, what did I walk into? My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. I don't care. I don't know Arenas nor Hoffa. I mean, all right, that's bad. All right, now we got some good stuff. Joey B's getting ready to go on a trip. Denver, Houston, Nassau. Pray for me, my wallet. Atlantis awaits. See you back online in 2 weeks. Man says, oh, sweet, my man Costco. I hope my membership card is renewed for a segment. Maybe Q will check out our ID before it starts. No, you didn't break 30 yet, right?
No, 29 today, actually.
Oh, my God, unbelievable.
So one more, then we leave the roaring 20s.
Well, all right, man's a couple years off. He says 27th, but that's close enough. Yeah. Joey,
I appreciate it. I have when I get my haircut tomorrow, you won't be able to see these couple grays I actually have in my hair.
Happy birthday, true New Jersey legend. Apparently, people didn't like the jingle. I didn't realize. By the way, I didn't realize it was that bad, and it's only 6 seconds. Bear with me.
Very good show on.
Oh, no, that's not good. That's not good. Vince says Coach Prime and the boys winning the Big 12.
Look, I will
yeah.
say, if Colorado won the Big 12, would I be shocked? No, because it's the Big 12. Now, the only team I think I would not pick to win the Big 12, I'm probably going to go, I guess, Arizona, not Arizona State, the Arizona Wildcats, like them or Scott Frost's, new version of Central Florida. I think I'd be stunned if either one of those teams out of the 16 in the Big 12, get it, Big 10 is 18 teams, Big 12 is 16 teams. I think if Arizona, I would say at this point, if Arizona or UCF won the Big 12, I'd be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe West Virginia, and I guess you kind of have to throw Cincinnati in there. I was going to say Oklahoma State, but it's like, it's Mike Gundy. It's Oklahoma State. Right. Could they magically rebound this year? Sure. I think that the four teams I would eliminate off the bat to get us back down to a traditional Big 12 here: Cincinnati, Arizona, UCF, and I guess West Virginia. I mean, believe me, I like Rich Rodriguez a lot better than Neil Brown, at least on vibes alone. But I don't think Rich Rod's going to resurrect West Virginia in 1 year to win the Big 12.
No, nor do I. I agree with that one. Joey says, I tuned in to see Q and Costco. Thought this was a Diners in New Jersey review show. Oh, do you have? I mean, listen, I have my diners that I, frequent. Here you go. Man says that's going to be a great episode, actually. And then Joey comes back and says, Taylor Ham. Q says pork roll, New Jersey versus South Jersey.
Well, it is. No, I do not say Taylor Ham. Absolutely not.
No, pork roll.
No,
that's ridiculous.
No.
That's
it's pork roll. That's blasphemous. It's pork.
That's
roll.
what I'm saying. Costco for Q, best YouTube microphone, favorite with the Death Star at -225. The Death Star had some issues the other day. It did. We had some issues, and yes, Taylor Ham. By the way, the best. Pork roll, one thing, right?
Well, side note, and then not to have two different conversations, but I did have the microphone that you had. My wife graciously gifted it to me years ago. The snowball mic. It was
the snowball mic.
Yeah, it was a Valiant Warrior for years, and then
that's what I'm saying. This
works
exactly
totally fine.
Right. So, there's a couple of times it's been pilot error, so that's on me. It happens, right? And then there are other times.
Not microphone error, I can tell you that.
Hey, listen. Just so if we're going pork roll, obviously you have to, go with the melted cheese on it. Now, if you're going like a roast pork sandwich, the best in New Jersey with the hot peppers on a Kaiser roll is Shalene's Bar in Westville off of 47. Now, I will say you want to get there between the hours of 1 in the afternoon to 4:35-ish in the afternoon. After 5 gets a little dicey. That area, it gets a little dicey. Like if people know that area right around 47, then you hit 1:30 and you got some very, let's just say, questionable places. You have hotels that you can rent for an hour. So I'm just saying.
But it's a hole-in-the-wall place. Got to respect it. Town and Country, right down the street.
Oh, they're killing you today, by the way, on your birthday. You don't say sub sandwich.
Yes, I do, actually. I
say sub.
Not sandwich. I say sub. It's not.
I go hoagie.
Being from South Jersey has given me a lot of conflicting opinions over the course of my life here, because I get a very heavy, and people can hear it. People hear it in my Jersey accent, but it's really a North Jersey, New York accent because of my entire family is from the North Jersey area, if not
but
from
yet
New
you're
York.
an Eagles fan and a Boston Red Sox fan.
Well, I was also born in South Jersey. I'm a little bit closer to Philadelphia than I am New York. So, I give you the New York attitude and I give you the Philadelphia fandom, but also it's a sub. It's not a hoagie's hoagie's more of a Philly thing, I guess, right? It's like a West Jersey Philly. How do people in Philly say it? Hoagie? Is that how they say it?
That's for the Delco crowd that tunes in, and they know
it is a sub. I've never known it to be anything else but a sub. It's a sub. Okay, it's coffee. That's how you say it. Okay, it's black coffee. Okay, I'll give you the North Jersey and New York juice. Okay, but
there you go.
But again, it's not Taylor Ham.
No, that's horrible.
No, it's horrible.
That's horrible. No, that's bad. Miller, Colorado pros. Omari and
Yep.
Adrenaline will both be pros. They have a ton
Vinny
of
makes a good
speed.
point on Omari and Miller's
Yeah.
very, very good. So they do have talent back, Colorado
Yes.
does. So it's just a matter of, and I do believe they're going to be fine at quarterback. It's just a matter of, Shedeur, for how good he was in college. And I know people, you can criticize him all you want. Like maybe he wasn't actually good. He wasn't mobile. Both these guys, Salter and Lewis, are a little bit more mobile than Shedeur was, especially Salter, who can run a lot. Shedeur was a pure pocket passer. If you saw him run, it's like, okay, no wonder why he's not a dual threat quarterback, but the kid can sling it. Shedeur was able to sling it, has the FBS record for completion percentage for a career. Salter is pretty accurate, not as accurate as that, but he's a dual threat. And I think with Colorado having that extra dimension, whether they go with Salter or if Lewis gets some time as well, I think with them having that dual threat capability under center might open up the run game a little bit more this year. But again, you're relying a lot on an offensive line that's still pretty much brand new, aside from, Jordan Seaton's like the guy you're going to know on Colorado's offensive line, because he's going to be an NFL draft pick in 2027, probably a first rounder if he keeps progressing at this rate. But with three new guys in the middle, it's like you better hope they can open up run lanes so you can see a guy like Salter. Okay, dual threat, run, hit the RPOs. See if Pat Shurmur can unlock a little bit more with a different type of quarterback. So, but they have they do have weapons. It's just a matter of, are you going to see him more? And I think Deion. I'm going to give credit to Deion. Obviously, I think what he noted about this Colorado team, it's like we had the stars the last 2 years.
Sure.
Last year when they were better. When those two guys were better and the team as a collective was better, but he's like, you know what? We don't have Shedeur. Whatever you think of Shiloh, wasn't too bad for Colorado's defense, and obviously you don't have Travis Hunter. But I think as a collective unit, offensively, defensively, and on special teams this year, Colorado, and it might not actually reflect in the win-loss record, Colorado as a collective unit, as a football program and a team, might actually be better in an overall collection this year compared to last year. It's just a matter of, what do you quantify as success this year if you're a fan or if you're someone on the outside looking in. Of course, for Deion, it's like it's championship or bust. They're trying to win.
Well, I think there might also be, from a betting perspective, I think there might be a little more sentiment. I mean, look, they have very long odds. They are the most bet on team to win the Big 12 at BetMGM.
Right.
They got heavy betting, a lot of action, but they're plus 3,000 to win the conference, which is 11th best in the conference. So as you mentioned, I think the optimism is, all right, you have talent and you hope that you fix the offensive line, because that's been the bugaboo. Now, I just think the division, or the conference, I should say, pardon me, is so stacked that I just don't see it. If someone wants to take a flyer on them, take a flyer on them for that kind of money and that kind of value. But I don't see it. And I the one thing I will say on July 30th is that he's going to coach. And if, let's just say he at some point doesn't feel well, gets run down during the season, has to step aside. Like you can't knock him for doing that, because health is paramount. Now, whether that's going to lead or attribute to maybe a loss here and there, like that's also something to watch, because that's great, cancer-free. But again, if you ever had to go through that type of treatment or dealt with it, or radiation or the proton stuff, I mean, it's never the chemo. Not saying that was the case, but your body reacts a certain way, and you think, hey, I can be cancer-free, and then I'm doing 18-hour days, 20-hour days, and then I'm frail, I'm tired, I'm weak. There's those extraneous variables, right? Life that we don't often talk about or associate with. And I think right now it's the sentiment that he's healthy and he's going to be on the sideline. And I think that's also swaying people to pick them as a sentimental favorite. But there's underlining factors too when you're looking at these seasons and these teams and these conferences and how it plays out, especially when there's a head coach that's had health issues.
Right. And not to just hypothesize that he's going to have to step down or take a leave of absence at some point in the season, but if that should happen, he does have guys around him. I already mentioned Pat Shurmur, his offensive coordinator, and there was another ad yesterday where it's now expected to finally be official. Byron Leftwich is supposed to join the staff now officially, and his title hasn't been revealed yet. You would assume he's going to work with the quarterback as some sort of QB coach or offensive analyst. Now, even if his role in name is smaller, Byron Leftwich is going to have some sort of
Of
impact
course.
on that offense, especially that
Of
quarterback
course.
room where and a guy like Julian Lewis as a freshman would love to learn from Byron Leftwich. Leftwich had his moments in the NFL as an OC. Now, whether however you think of his coaching career, where it was on.
No, I think it's a great hire. It's a great hire.
Right. His trajectory was what? Like this, and then it dipped. Like stuff happens to guys like that. Look at Eric Bieniemy. I think is the prime example of the last, 10 years where that guy was the hottest name in the NFL in terms of he's the next head coach. And now look at him.
But do you believe that hire is more because of the quarterback battle and the fact that maybe Deion in the back of his head says, all right, I might not, and again, pure speculation, I might not be 100% every weekend. And I want to trust someone that I know in case I'm not available for a game or two, he can take the reins over.
If they do something like that, I would imagine a guy like Robert Livingston, the defensive coordinator, would be the guy to step up as the interim head coach or the acting head coach. Pat Shurmur could do that as well. I think he's really relied on guys like Livingston and Shurmur to really help elevate and and delegate.
You say Pat Shurmur, and it just.
Oh, I know it irks you, but Eagles interim head coach. Obviously with the Giants too. It's like I know he sends a little bit of a shiver down your spine, but he's been solid over at Colorado. I think those two guys could collectively take the reins. I would imagine a guy like Livingston would be your acting head coach should Deion have to step away for a X period of time. But he's adding guys to this coaching staff year to year, and I think I think even Terrell Owens wanted to join the staff at this point. But like he's got you got a guy like Warren Sapp, you got Hall of Famers on this staff. Marshall Faulk will just add to the staff too, working with the running backs as an assistant coach as well.
They're loading up.
That's what I'm saying. So like he wants greatness around him. I think whether however they do as coaches is, I guess, to be determined. And I know it's not like you're asking Warren Sapp to be the head coach of a Division I football program, but it's like you have a Hall of Famer coaching up your defensive linemen. You have another Hall of Famer, Marshall Faulk, helping out your running backs. You're going to have quality coaches like Livingston and Shurmur coaching your defense and offense respectively. You have a guy in Byron Leftwich now who's going to help out your quarterbacks and he might end up being, take that quarterback coach title away from Pat Shurmur and be the official quarterback coach. Who knows? He wants to surround himself with a lot of coaching experience, guys who have coached in the NFL level, and try to trickle it down to the college game. Now, I'm not saying Deion's going to step away from coaching, completely anytime soon, so long as he's healthy. But I think having guys like that where he can delegate a lot, I think that's why he was very trustworthy of the staff he had in place while he was away from camp activities and other offseason activities for Colorado during the time of his treatment where he was keeping his health very, on the DL, so to speak. But I think if they had to replace him for a week as far as an acting head coach is concerned, I think they'd be they'd be fine as a short answer.
I think also, too, the fact that, you talk about Leftwich, he's coached top 2 passing offenses in 4 seasons, right, with the Buccaneers. I mean, think about that for a moment. Right. Then if you actually look at him as a whole with the body of work and the resume, the reason you bring also a guy like Byron Leftwich, or I just should say Byron Leftwich, onto your coaching staff is because that shows me, all right, we've got a strong commitment to what position? The quarterback position and development at the quarterback position. All right, before I let you get out of here, we do have to, this is a good one, right?
And one more thing on him, don't forget, he coached Tom Brady. Leftwich learned a little something. He coached coached under Bruce Arians, helped win a Super Bowl, and I get that's probably more Brady than Leftwich, but it's like those guys have to work with each other. They have to learn from each other. Brady can't do it all by himself at age 40. He just happened to have all the stars aligned in 2020 when Tampa won the Super Bowl. But who was his offensive coordinator? Byron Leftwich. Just putting that out there.
Little controversy with the cookie talk the other day. Best Italian bakery cookie debate. Black or white, macaroon, rainbow layer, cake cookie, pistachio, and leaf cookies. But wait, the madman says, I'm certain he would introduce cannolis into the argument.
Cannolis are phenomenal. As far as the best Italian cookie, I mean, I can't. You can't go wrong with a good black and white cookie. I'm telling you. I try not to. As long as the stuff's not in the house, I'm not going to eat it. I don't necessarily go out and go get it. That's why I maintain this fantastic figure. If it's in the house, it's going to get consumed. It's going to get consumed fast.
Oh, you're funny. All right. I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. For some reason, it warped into, the old school ribbon candy, and then sitting on the sofa with the plastic at 90 degrees heat.
I think I'm lucky. I don't remember if my grandparents ever had it. If any grandparent would ever have the plastic on the couches. I want to say it was my grandmother on my mother's side, but thank goodness I don't remember if that was ever part of my my first 3 years on this planet, and I don't remember it,
Yeah.
or if she got rid of it by the time I came into the pictures. I am the oldest grandchild, so I would hope that I wasn't a part of that, but
Right.
that is just typical Italian American
Yeah.
stuff
It
right
wasn't
there.
good.
No,
Yeah.
no other culture would even bother trying to do
Nah,
that.
nah. And it's just, it's just, and don't get me wrong, uh, the, uh, the Spanish side of the family pulls some ridiculous stuff as well. And I'll just leave. I mean, cranking up to friggin', it's like 100 degrees and you don't even touch the thermostat. I mean, what are we doing here?
Open the window.
All right, birthday boy. So you have you'll take a couple days next weekend, a little hiatus. You'll go and enjoy, right?
Yep, wife and I are gonna take a few days off, and we'll be back after that, a little refreshed. And all of a sudden, by the time we actually get back, football's almost gonna be back in full swing. So, we've got a couple things cooking this summer. Before we get back into football, I'll be actually. This was announced last week, but I'll be on the call for CWA, the Championship Wrestling Association.
Nice.
Showcase number 5 is coming to Toms River, New Jersey on August 16th. So that's Saturday. I'll be on the call for that alongside Mario Mason, who wrestled for Rutgers for a hot minute. So nice little Jersey flair on the broadcast team, and it'll be a good showcase of these guys, in their post-collegiate days, trying to keep this professional league growing. There's numerous ones out there for, obviously the folk style or freestyle, but if you love folk style, so like high school and college, this is the league for you. So I'll be on the call for that. And I got a couple On3 wrestling podcasts coming up. Stoking a couple fires, so I'll have a couple of those episodes out
Nice.
in the coming weeks as well. Then all of a sudden, Q, you're gonna have me on 2 days a week starting about 4 weeks from now, and I think it's gonna be might be too much of me for your list.
No. We always talk about the value. Like I said, the value.
The value is going to get doubled with college football on Wednesdays, and then a little tidbits of the high school stuff on Fridays.
Of course, we're going to mix in the tidbits of high school, absolutely, and we'll talk some pros as well. We'll go back to the Knicks picks as well. Toms River, about a 45-minute drive. That would be North Jersey, not Central Jersey.
That is correct.
By the way, everyone wants to see you wrestle a bull somewhere in Ames. I don't know.
Freudian slip a couple weeks ago.
Well, I got some trolls on that one as well. I got some trolls on that one as well. And again,
I'm not wrestling a bull. I could tell Joey B that I'm not wrestling a bull. I would love to go out to Ames, Iowa, though. I would love to see a duel out there. If I was to stick it to wrestling, I would like to see the Cyclones, a Cyclones match out there, preferably against Iowa. But we'll see what happens.
Sarge, Nick and Wileyford, Kevin C in Jackson, and also Tommy D and Joey D in South Philly, all wishing you on X, wishing you a happy, and they say, you're still not old. Talk to us when you hit about 40 or so. But I appreciate you, brother. Excellent stuff as always. I wish you a very, 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 very happy birthday. I will never play that sounder again, but we always appreciate you jumping on for a couple moments. Man, you got to go out. This is what you have to do. You have to go out and you got to get yourself a little, the pork sandwich with the melted cheese, right? Get some chips on the side. You got to go a little Lay's, if you will.
Does sound good.
And you wash it down, right, with a little chocolate milk and a little black and white cookie on the side.
A little black and white cookie. I'm very grateful for my wife who picked up a couple of steaks. So that'll be
there you go.
That'll be a little dinner tonight. A tiny bit of vino. Obviously, she's on the wagon, so to speak. Again, our son is due in about 4 months, so that'll be little celebration of life tonight, which will be nice.
Well, I won't, as you say that, and other comments are coming in that I will not read on the air. They hope no matter what, you have some quiet time with the missus. And I'm telling you, I don't know where they come from, these guys, but we will leave it. You already have a birthday smile on. That's good. So we will leave it at there. But I always appreciate you, brother. Happy birthday, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Rich. Thank you very much, my man.
All right, you got it. My guy Nick Costco. Happy birthday to him. He's the best. He's He's a fantastic get. Joey says, great Costco segment as always. Yeah, absolutely. Costco going to show up in a rubber training suit next time. Cutting weight. Michael says, there's only South Jersey and North Jersey. Yes, yes, yes. We had that debate. We had that debate before, Michael. We did. And for some reason, we were going back and forth about the Central, right? You have to get the horn sound from what? What convertible? I don't think I have a horn. Hold on a second. Do I have a horn sound in here? Get the air horn. We got the crowd noise. We got the drum roll. That twinkle is out, by the way. You're right. That twinkle is banned on the show. I'm sorry. That's a bad job by me. I was trying to be creative. I shouldn't have done it. And I will tell you right now, we will we will not have the twinkle. I don't know what I'm going to do with you guys. Yeah, and by the way, I don't know. Is this now? Hold on a second. You guys have to let me know. Is Watch NFL full season? Are they saying everything I'm saying is 100%? Hold on. Let's get them up again, as Vince said. Hold on. Wait. What are we doing? Watch NFL full. You guys check that out. Click that link for me. Let me know if that's a little bot going on middays. We can't allow that kind of nonsense. Vince was Johnny on the spot with that. He knew from the get-go. All right. 5 o'clock. Straight up. 16 of books. 60 to play with. Quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side. You guys keep it locked in as you typically do on a Woosah Wednesday edition of Middays with Q. We will take you up. We got to get rid of Watch NFL. We will take you up to 6 o'clock straight up.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
All right, 5 o'clock straight up. 16 of books on a Woosah Wednesday. Got some comments on Hoffa. How do you? Some of you guys don't know who Jimmy Hoffa is? Really? Are you kidding me? By the way, Madman, excellent reference. Excellent reference. Oh. Oh, all right. Hold on. I apologize. I got like 16 things going on over here. Yeah, the bots. Yeah, I don't know where that bot is coming from. That's horrible. Yes. All right. I thought it said AI, not Al first in the convertible. Yes. Oh my goodness. $50 says he slices. First of all, there's no gambling in Bushwood, and I never slice. Yeah, that's oh, speaking of which, hold on a second. It did not go over my head. Stop. I was reading it fast. Don't even give me that kind of crap on a Woosah Wednesday. Please, everyone knows I'm the king of movie quotes. The remake of The Naked Gun. Did you guys see what it got on Rotten Tomatoes? Did you guys see what it scored? It scored a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson are smitten. They're saying right here, The biggest surprise of the year, 99.9. Wow. Man, you know what? I might have to do a little I might have to do a little extra large little Diet Coke, get those little pretzel poppers and sit down and do it. It is easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But a man that can smile is a man worthwhile when he knows that his shorts are too tight in the seam. Okay, Pookie, do the honors. Do you remember what the ship was called on Christian the SS Wasp? Oh man, you cannot get away with that movie today. You cannot get away with that. You can't get away with History of the World of Blazing Saddles. You can't. Oh my God. That movie was an absolute classic. It's one of the all-time, man. All-time. By the way, the Mets have acquired Tyler Rogers from the Giants. They needed a righty. He's been absolutely incredible. 1.8 ERO, 0.86 whip. Nick and Wallingford laughing out loud while I'm driving. I can't believe he actually just sang that song. Listen, that was a great scene. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. EG on X, Eagle Man says, Q, did you see that Pope Leo does not want to wear an Eagles hat? I mean, is this breaking news? Is that where we're going now? Can we leave Pope Leo alone? Right? He's a Villanova guy. He is a Villanova guy, and that's okay. I know the Eagles, right? They gave him a hat, right? He was gifted an Eagles hat, Super Bowl hat at the Vatican. So, but he didn't don, no pun intended, Big Dom. He didn't don the hat. So I guess, is he a Bears fan? Is he an Eagles fan? We will have to inspect that. CJ chimes in, Q, I'm actually going to ride Colorado. I agree with you. Definitely send him a favor, but it's not going to change my way in how I bet. Well, you have to be careful. So you're basically saying you're going to bet, you throw 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you're betting because you feel they are a sentimental favorite. That conference is stacked. That conference is absolutely stacked. Now, if they fix the offensive line, like all accounts are saying, but you got Texas Tech, their offense is going to score 35, 36 points, 38 points. Utah, the Utes, I mean, as long as they fix their offense and then they implement those changes, I actually think West Virginia is going to be better. West Virginia might win 7 or 8 games. TCU, the problem with TCU is this. Look at their schedule. It's like potholes all over the place, right? Let me pull it up. So you got SMU, Arizona State, Kansas State, Baylor, BYU, Iowa State. So they're all going to contend for a playoff. Then you got North Carolina, Colorado, Houston, Cincinnati, West Virginia. And these are teams that, might be nipping. So you got to get through that schedule first and foremost. You have to. Franchise chimes in, Q, I did not see that. Your guy, Tiki Barber, was fired. And then what the hell happened with Shannon Sharpe? So CBS made a bunch of changes. How about this for CBS, right? So this is the CBS, the NFL and CBS. Here's the shakeup. So Tiki Barber's out of the booth. So he's going to do pre and most likely post for the Giants, who actually just re-up with WFAN. But now you tell me what you think of this. This is for CBS. This is the NFL on Sunday, CBS. Let me pull it up. Here you go. So Charles Davis, who I like, will replace Barber in the booth alongside Andrew Catalan and analyst Jason McCourty. So you're still going 3 in the booth. JJ Watt is going to move from the NFL Today studio, and he's going to actually now be a full-time game analyst, and he'll be part of the number 2 team, which is the Birdman, Iron Eagle. And now you've got Evan Washburn. Obviously, the number 1 team is Nance and Romo. And as far as the Shannon Sharpe thing, I told you guys this, what was it, months ago? When all this stuff came out with Shannon Sharpe, we knew he was done. No way he was going to survive that. Think about all these changes going on with these networks. And I think Madman, I want to pull up Madman's comment. It was early on in the show. Where was it? It was, I believe it was regarding these changes in the networks. But it was a good comment, so I want to read it off. So all these big networks do the delayed firing now. Try to make it seem less of a knee-jerk reaction, even though everyone knows they're gone. Yeah. That would be Joy Taylor. Yep. Which you knew was gone. And you knew Shannon Sharpe was gone. I mean, Shannon Sharpe... it's a $50 million lawsuit, right? And he settled the sex assault suit. You just knew. I mean, how much money did Shannon Sharpe make in his career? And now he has this $50 million. I don't understand. You're 57 years old, man. What are you doing? Like messing around with a kid like that, or allegedly messing around with a kid like that? Like what are you thinking? Seriously. That's just stupid. That's like asinine. That's just makes no sense. I mean, did you think first? And I like Shannon Sharpe. I love Shannon Sharpe when he was on CBS. I listened to his pods. I like the Nightcap with Ocho Cinco and the Club Shay Shay. But what are we doing? Like, you just can't put yourself in those types of situations. You're talking about losing millions and millions and millions. Forget about potentially going to jail, because that's always on the table, but millions and millions of dollars. You know, and he can deny. But, oh my goodness. And, you know, I said this. I thought he was done. After this came out, done. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. When you are accused of this, and in this case, he was accused of rape, and it's a $50 million civil lawsuit, and then he subsequently, what does he do? You know, the PR spin, the agent, his lawyer, his marketing firm said, step away from the mothership. You knew he was done. I mean, he might never ever work in television again. But man, you're right. To Man's point, like, you don't need to delay the fire. You already know. You already know what's going to happen. You already know. But you have to be smart. There's millions and millions, and some of these guys are getting paid handsomely. I mean, you're talking about, you know, like think of the money that Stephen A. Smith makes. Seriously, the contract that Solitary A. Smith makes. The money he makes is absurd. $100 million contract over 5 years. 5 years. And he's plastered
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
No, the Death Star mic is not failing anyone. What I was saying, the Death Star mic stays, period. I'm not following. I'm not retiring the Death Star mic. If the Yankees win the World Series, I will. No. If the Giants, hold on a second. Hold on. Where's de facto? You can mark the tape. Mark the tape. If the Giants make the playoffs, I will retire the Death Star microphone. There. Now, to answer your question, no, he doesn't need to be on TV, but he wants to be on TV because that's where the money is. If the Giants make the playoffs, then I will definitely retire the Death Star microphone. I will. I will do that. That's fair. I don't have a problem doing that. Tommy Boy chimes in. Q, you got to remember, Shannon Sharpe actually categorically denied all the allegations. What does that mean? He still settled the lawsuit. It typically, and I hate to say this, and I know some of you guys don't want to hear this. What does it typically mean? Now use your noggin. That's ridiculous, by the way, madman. That's absurd. That's friggin' absurd. We've gone an hour and 18 minutes. We've had a good show with a lot of moving parts, a lot of laughs. I literally said I would turn around and I would retire the microphone if the Giants made the playoffs. Now you come with this crap saying win a single game on a Woosah Wednesday. The mic stays now. Because of that, the mic stays. It stays. Now, going back to the comment, when you typically settle a lawsuit, doesn't that in some way, shape, or form, isn't that in some way, shape, or form an admission of guilt? Isn't it? Right? Sarge says, ouch, win a game, Q. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. That's uncalled for. There was no reason. That shot was so unnecessary. It's like a shot across the bow. Not good. Not good. Not good. Kevin C. Jackson, Q, can you flash up the Big 12 championship betting odds one more time? I certainly can. Utah, the Utes plus 500, K-State plus 600, Texas Tech plus 600, Iowa State plus 1,200, Colorado plus 2,200. I didn't post all of them. I'm just posting a couple in regards to the conversation. Unreal. I mean, it'd be nice if the Giants won a couple games this year, but I don't see that happening. Oh, wait, we got some, you guys ask about the allegations with Gilbert Arenas, right? A couple things. Shine chimes in Q. If Ruben Amaro Jr. was a Phillies GM, Skinnies would be a Phillies at the trade deadline. I got a bunch of futures for the Phils. I have the Yankees later on. Still rooting for the Phillies. I have SC if anyone cares. I've also got alt lines on Miami. Your guy from Delco. There you go. There you go. Coming out with some plays. Yeah, I don't know about this whole, the Gilbert Arenas situation. I mean, a lot of you guys that listen in, you guys play cards, you guys play poker, right? So how many houses have you played at over your 15, 20 year playing cards where you knew it was an illegal game? I mean, come on. Hirsch chimes in. Q, Gilbert Arenas, Shannon Sharpe, pack drop within minutes of each other. I didn't have that on my bingo card. No. Oh, I didn't even mention Marcus Morris, right? I mean, no one. I feel like that now kind of like is a hold your beer, is it not? Right? Because now you've got Marcus Morris, who's been accused of stealing 265,000 from Vegas casinos. Now follow me. He made over $100 million during his NBA career. $100 million, and this cat is stealing chump change from a Vegas casino. And by the way, this is how he's doing it, mind you. You want to talk about, what was it in the movie Rounders, right? Passing off the the bad checks, right, with the Greeks. So he would go to the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. He wrote a bad check for $115,000 on May 24th. The Wynn Las Vegas Hotel and Casino reported a similar move in June of 2024. He wrote a check for $150,000. In both cases, the casinos allege Morris knew the checks would bounce. The casino issued individual warrants for Morris' arrest for fraud. Yeah, but they were dumb enough to cash the checks. So, like, you're writing bad checks, and you're allowed, you don't even see that, and he cashes them for 265, which again makes no sense when the guy made $100 million in his career. I don't get it. I don't. I really don't. Now, for those that are curious, it's cited, I think it's a law. If you have over $1,200 in outstanding payments, law enforcement can issue a warrant for your arrest. So that's basically, in casino terminology, you go to the window, you don't have the money. What do? You take out a, quote, marker. And then obviously you got X amount of days to pay the marker, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days. You're taking out a loan. You're borrowing from the casino. You have 5,000, you win 10, you keep 5, you pay him back 5, and whatever, the juice is fine. So if you have an outstanding marker with a casino, then yeah, if you owe over 1,200 in outstanding payments, then you can be arrested. It makes no sense. Now his agent's coming out saying zero fraud. I don't buy that. I don't. I'm telling you, I don't put anything past anyone. I really don't. It makes no. You made $100 million in your career. Why are you trying to pass off bad checks? And if you're the casino in Vegas, why are you cashing these checks? You just cannot teach stupid. You can't. Joey B, I think Joey B I thought, Joey, weren't you hopping on a plane like an hour and a half ago? What are you doing? You sitting in the airport? You got me locked in on the YouTube channel? That's fascinating. That's fantastic stuff. Will Scatterboo be a long-term NFL player, 3 to 4 year guy, then out of the league? I don't think he can play special teams for a decade. Oh, I think he could play special teams for a decade, be like Steve Tasker of the Bills back in the day. Yeah, Tasker, hung around special teams, obviously, and he was a good little slot receiver. Scatterboo can definitely hang around. Definitely. Life expectancy, what do we talk about? Years ago in the NFL, it was 3 to 5 years. A running back, it was definitely 3 years. But the Giants seem to be high on this kid. Now, I don't think he's going to be a back that carries 25, 30 times. He's not an all-star, right? Mike Allstott was Mike Allstott. But you've got a little running back competition going on with the Giants right now with Tyrone Tracy and Scatterboo and Singletary. I like the kid. I think it was a really good draft pick. He's a change of pace back. So if you have a back that's not going to be able to carry at 25, maybe Tracy gets his 18 to 20 touches and Singletary comes in for a little bit. And then you got this guy in the fourth quarter kind of wear down the defenses. I mean, he's 5'11". I think the kid's 216, 220. He's not going to blow you away, but, nice college career, right? But he can definitely add to that offense. Here's the one thing you have to do as a rookie. Yes, you play special teams and you can't fumble and you got to pick up the blitz. You got to block, period. You got to block. Joey says he leaves manana. Okay, just checking. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Steve Tasker. Yeah, that's from the other Booma. Scatterboo can be a big impact. Reminds me of a mini Marshawn Lynch. That's like jumbo shrimp. A mini Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Lynch, let me see. Mike Allstott, let's see his size. I loved watching Mike Allstott play. Mike Allstott was 6'1". I don't know what his weight. He was a beast. He was a really good running back, man. He was fun to watch because he ran hard. He just ran hard. Let me see. Was he two? They have him listed 230. I don't know about that. Maybe Scottaboo is kind of like that build, where you give him 10 to 15 touches here and there, catch the ball out of the backfield. Giants have offensive weapons. I'm being very honest. The Giants have some weapons. I just don't know about the offensive line. And you can have all the weapons in the world, but if the offensive line is not holding up, you're going to have an issue. You know, when Tracy was playing, he was averaging right around 4.5 yards a carry. You know, Singletary was averaging about 4.2 yards a carry. The reason he got some of the reps last year, and he took away from Tracy, who I thought was the more explosive back, the younger back, is because Tracy was a guy that sometimes put the ball on the turf. Now, they both had a couple of fumbles last year, but I think you trust the veteran over the younger player. Then you got Neighbors, you got Robinson, you got Slayton, you got Johnson, right? They added some nice pieces. You know, you have backup, veteran quarterbacks right now in Winston. Obviously, Russell Wilson's going to be the starter. You draft a kid, you draft Carter as well. It's just the offensive line is going to be a problem again for the Giants, and their schedule is brutal. So when Madman says win a game, he might be right, right? If you go through the Giants' schedule game by game, you're almost always going to say loss. It's ridiculously tough schedule, maybe on the road in New Orleans. I said this, and you guys laughed at me. I said this. I'll go through it right now. By the way, Phil is in the White Sox in a rain delay. They might get there. They open up the season on the road against Washington. They're not winning that game. They open up after Washington. They go right on the road to Dallas, which has already been a house of horrors. They're not winning that game. They come back home. Their home opener against the Chiefs. They're not winning that game. And they have the Chargers. I don't see a win there. On the road against the Saints, I think the Saints are going to be really, really bad. There might be a win, but then you have the Eagles, Denver, and the Eagles. They're not winning those games. Now, you want to see the Jackson Dart era? It might be in November, where the Giants season is always friggin' done by Halloween. Always over the last 10 years. 1-6, 1-7, 2-8. They're done. So you might want to pencil in Dart against the 49ers. Then they go on the road against Chicago. I'm not winning that game. At home against Green Bay, not winning. On the road against the Lions, not winning. On the road against New England, maybe. Against Washington at home, not winning. Because Washington's going to need that game. Minnesota, not winning. At the Raiders, I don't think they're winning. The Giants, they will be lucky to win 4 games. 4 games. So you agree, which means that Death Star Mike retires after this broadcast. No, I said if the Giants make the playoffs, I will get rid of the Death Star Mike. It could be a bad idea to let Dart play this year. It could, but is Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston your long-term answers? The kid's going to see the field at some point. He's going to see the field at some point. You cannot. The days of the quarterback sitting are done. Well, let me rephrase that. The days of a rookie quarterback sitting, they're done. They're done. You don't trade for a quarterback in the first round for him to sit. You just don't. It's baptismal by fire. Now, Cam Ward came out and had some interesting comments about his offense, which hasn't sat well with some veterans. He basically said the offense is very mid right now. And, he's holding himself accountable. He's showing that early leadership role because he also knows, he's got to be able to fire up these offensive linemen. Like his offensive line is going to be his best friend, or it's going to be a line that causes him to what? Miss a lot of games. And I'm telling you right now, the same could be said again with a team like the Giants with a rookie quarterback behind two veteran or two journeymen at this point in their career veteran quarterbacks. Winston's doing everything he needs to do. Russell Wilson, by all accounts, is being that leader, and that's what you want because they know their career is coming to an end. All they're trying to do is prolong the inevitable. When you have a rookie quarterback that's a top, a first round pick, top 5, top 10, top 20, first round draft picks, they want to play. The GMs and the head coaches want to get them on the field sooner rather than later. When you bring in veteran guys like a Rodgers, like a Wilson, like a Winston, like a Flacco, all they're trying to do is prolong their career at this point. They're trying to prevent the young kid from taking their spot. Now, they might groom them a little bit. They might, teach them the ins and outs, how to be, quote, professional. But ultimately, they don't want to give up that spot. Russell Wilson didn't sign with the Giants so he can be a backup. He didn't. He just didn't. Aaron Rodgers didn't sign with Pittsburgh so he can be a backup. These guys want to start. They have pride. They have ego, right? They also have incentives. But when you draft quarterbacks in the first round, like some of these teams did, aside from Tennessee, we know Cam Ward is going to be your week 1 starter if you're a Titans fan. The Giants want to see what this kid has because they know ultimately that A, the GM and the head coach are lame ducks. That's another thing. There's no way, to your point, man, there's no way that the Giants will sit Dart knowing that Brian Daboll and Joe Shane have 1 year to get it together. They won't do that. They have to throw this kid out there. They have to. I'm telling you right now. They have to. You can't set the bar that high. If the Giants get 3 wins, the Death Star Mike stays deal. Oh, man. Oh, boy. You know what? Man. So I'm going to need this has to be a full show decision from the listener. So you're basically saying New York wins 3, the Death Star Mike stays. The Giants finish the season 2-15. That would be December. I'm sorry. That would be what? December or January, maybe the first week in January. I come on the air on a Lunes Mentioso Man Up Manolo Monday. I have to come on the air with a new mic. Oh, man. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to think this one over. And I don't want to be pressured. I don't want to be bullied on a Woosah Wednesday. I just don't. Retirement of the mic. No, what are you doing? Are you negotiating with me? Hold on a second. Are you looking for a little charity? Is that what you're doing right now? Now it's 2 wins? 2 wins or less, retirement of the mic. I mean, that's not saying much in my belief of my team, but part of me also would love to see them have a horrible season so they can get a high draft pick again. I just go back to your original comment regarding the quarterback and not playing them this year. You know this as much as I do being a 49ers fan. Eventually, you got to start the young guys. These are not the days of Young and Montana going back and forth and both quarterbacks being, jerked around, dicked around. This is different. This is not even Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith. Jackson Dart will see the field sooner rather than later. My worst case scenario is that the Giants win 3 out of their first 5 games and Russell Wilson plays well because that prolongs Jackson Dart. See, the thing is, when Coughlin did it, it's a different animal, different era, and Coughlin was still the coach. There was no, panic time. It was 2007, they wanted to run him out. But Daboll and Shane have to win games. They have to win games. They're going to try to win games early with Russell Wilson. And then, again, my fear is that you're going to get the excuse, well, we played 7 games with the rookie. Let's see what he has next season, right? I agree they will play Dart, but they shouldn't. How about this? If the Giants get one win in the first 5 weeks, you can't fish on Sunday. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. If the Giants get one win in the first 5 weeks, you can't fish on Sunday until next spring. I can't do that. I can't. I'm sorry. That is a tough ask. That's like me asking you to, let's say, stay away from the Stratford Diner for 6 months. Can't do it, can you? There's absolutely no way. I know you're laughing right now. There's absolutely no way you can stay away. We're talking, your routine. Now, rumor has it the routine is this. No. No. There's no more of the two old guys with the newspaper, like the two old guys in the Muppet Show going back and forth about politics and POTUS. No more Terry running around saying she can't take this. No more freshen you up, top you off. Not happening. No. The art of the deal is live. It is. Q and Costco enter a pro bass fishing tournament in Mississippi would be #1 rated show on Netflix. I don't know if Costco is a bass fisherman. I don't know. What was that? Remember that movie with Brad Pitt, A River Runs Through It? He was a very good angler. No. But I will say this. I will have my answer. Again, I will have my answer by Friday regarding this. I do not believe the Giants will win more than 5. I don't. My boy Jimmer predicts the Giants finish 4-13 as a Giants fan. He might be on it. He might be on it. It's just they're bad guys. They're bad. They're really bad. There are some bad teams in the NFL. I think the Giants are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I really do. I think Miami's in for a long season too. I think the Saints are going to be bad. Tennessee's going to be bad, but it's baptismal by fire for Ward. It really is. There's some really bad teams this season, which kind of goes back to what we always talk about, right? Hold on real quick. Wow. So this was just, not to be a Debbie Downer, this was just sent to me. So apparently, Tom in Summers Point just tweeted this at me. The man who killed 4 people at a Manhattan office building bought the rifle he used in the attack and the car he drove across country from his supervisor at a Las Vegas casino. Wow. Can we talk more lawsuits coming? Wow. His supervisor at the Horseshoe Las Vegas legally bought the AR-15 style rifle he sold to Tamara for $1,400, the New York Police Department said Wednesday. Now, I'm not going to get on the gun, no gun, pro gun. I'm not going to get on that, but this is not a good look. This is not good at all. Not good at all. That's horrible. Horrible. Not good at all. Not good at all. I don't think, you know what? If Giants finish 500, would Q shave his beard? No. I trim it, keep it clean when I do my broadcasts, but no, not happening. No. They'd have to win the Super Bowl. And we're not touching the beard. We're not touching the, Carlito's way, the Carlito Brigante beard. We're not touching the hair. We're not doing any of that. Imagine Costco walking into a deli in Louisiana. Hey, y'all got cannolis. So unpopular opinion, Waffle House is overrated. I remember coming back from when I would drive to do the fights, they were, you go down. Well, the one time I took a couple of trips down to Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina. But coming home, there's the Waffle House in It's on 95, like right when you get to, what is that? I call it Cheesequake in Maryland, right? That big stopover. And I was craving, obviously, waffles. But I was very disappointed in the waffles at that Waffles House, right? You know, it says here you like grits. How do you like yours? Al dente or regular? Just plain, creamy or al dente. That was a very good scene of My Cousin Vinny. The whole grit eating population, it takes them how long to cook grits? Huh. No respecting Southerner. I boil my grits, make them from scratch. All right, 541. Got some Giant fans chiming in. Got some guys chiming in on this Gilbert Arenas. And Nick and Wallingford wants to talk about how bad the umps are in baseball. Are we going to go to that AI generated? Everyone's been talking about that when it comes to balls and strikes. That umpire the other night in that Met game, period, showed up Juan Soto. You have to go further south for good Waffle House. Maryland is just south or Jersey. I went down to Carolina I went to the one down in Carolina. Okay. And it was near south of the border, where many years ago when we made our road trek and we crammed me and 4 of my buddies into a small Honda Civic and drove all the way down to Daytona, which was a fascinating trip, by the way. It was when we had that storm in March, that snowstorm, many, many, many years ago. We had no money. We had to have our parents wire us money. Yes, wire us money back in the day. We broke in a hotel. We found all this old Saturday Night Live gear and all these cone heads. And let's just say, south of the border, I took a picture at south of the border with the big firework guy. Q drives to the south, visits top 10 Waffle House. Costco stays in the car the entire trip. No. Waffle House and fireworks, what could go wrong? Listen, all I'm saying is south of the border is the spot. That's it. You have a lot of fun there. Yes, all the signs they had on 95 south from 3. Yes. You'd have to count them. 300, 250, 220, 200. Got to stop off and pee. Got to eat. 150, 100, 50, 75. Oh, look to your left. You see the big south of the border, the big firework guy. That was a great spot, man. That was a great spot. South of the border. That's pretty much, south of the border. That's it's a world famous roadside attraction, right? I also believe they have the hotels that you can also rent out for an hour. That's what rumor tells me. 545, quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side, close it out.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pascoe. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
All right, 5:46. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock. Joey. Just don't stop at the Vince Lombardi rest stop in North Jersey on the Turnpike. You'll get more than enough. Oh, man. There was a hotel I had to stay at coming back from the fights years ago. It was like, it might have been exit 68, 69, 70 off the Parkway. I think that's like Woodbridge. And it was snowing really bad. So I was like, this is annoying. I don't feel like driving another 2.5 hours. Maybe I'll just, pull off. Not at a rest stop, but, pull off at one of these hotels. And it was a motel. I always believe the difference is a hotel, you walk through the lobby. A motel, you can actually, get into your room from outside, which is never a good thing. It was a motel that was attached. It had to be like a trucker bar, roadside stop. It was $39, right? $39, cash only. I didn't even have to show a friggin' ID. That was my first red flag of, not good. Right. So, I paid, went into the room, and it was disgusting. It was disgusting. All I wanted to do was wash up, get a couple hours sleep, tried to use the shower, and let's just say it was not the best experience. Very cold water. It was low pressure, which is not good on the hair. You guys know that. And before I pulled the sheets off, now mind you, this room, it you go in from the outside. So to me, that's a motel. Like, I felt like I was walking in, I was going to see like the imprint of a dead body and a caution sign, but the friggin' door was wooden and it had a chain lock. So I'm like, this is where I've come to die. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good at all. I'm not in my happy place. I'm not. Took the shower. I'm so very anal when it comes to that stuff because I always pack my clothes knowing. Had extra clothes. I bring, believe it or not, extra pillowcases too, because that's just how I am. Even when I fly and I do broadcast, always. But I forgot my repellent, my bug spray, which is, again, I'm telling you right now, you have to have the friggin' bug spray. You have to. I pull back the sheets, and I'm telling you, it literally was like one of those friggin' commercials where it was like a family of roaches having a friggin' 50-year family reunion. Not only did I gag, and I'll be totally transparent. Yes, did I scream like a little girl? I did. But then I manned up and I decided to take matters into my own hands. So I literally took that mattress outside, flung it outside, which unbeknownst to me, was taken a couple hours later. I don't know who the hell took it. Could have been Joe the trucker. So now I'm in my chair, 2 chairs. I got my fresh clothes on me. I got my coat over me, and I'm staring facing the friggin' door. Why? Because the lock, you got to jiggle it. The lock did not close the whole way. So mind you, it's snowing, it's wind, and all you hear is every 5 seconds, the door would open up a little bit. Every 5 seconds. I didn't sleep a wink. Now, it's not as bad as the hotel that this platform put me in years ago in Virginia, where, again, it was not in the best place. And it was, again, motel. And yes, I tossed the mattress out. I did not care. It was like, I'm telling you, it was like a congregation of roaches. They just decided, let's just hang out on this mattress for $39. That's what I paid for. It was disgusting. This place in Virginia, though, same scenario, man. Same scenario. Wooden door, right? You get the little Jimmy lock. Here you go. It's like 11:30 at night. We're off the air, get back in the hotel. The shower was good. I had no problem with the shower. But around 11:45-ish, 12 o'clock, I'm trying to count sheep. I'm trying to get in my nice, happy place because typically I need a couple hours sleep. I'll get on the road. All I heard was pop, 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 pop. And I look out the window. I kid you not. It was like 3, and some of you guys know where I'm going with this. I don't know if it was Portsmouth, Virginia. It was a bad area de facto. And I will say this. As I had to deal with the roaches on, exit 70 in Wantong or whatever the hell I was. In this area in Virginia, I'm going to be, again, fully transparent, man. Fully transparent. I was overrun by lot lizards, which was not good. And you guys know exactly what I'm saying. You know exactly where I'm going with this. These were not, it wasn't A team, it wasn't B team, it wasn't C team, it was get the hell out of here team time. After I hear the pop, 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 I'm like, that's it. I open up the door, I see the lot lizards are going at it, which is never a good thing. If you've ever seen lot lizards fight, it can get ugly. It can get ugly. Pulling at wigs, pulling at clothes, just saying things you never want to hear in your life. I mean, stuff that made me have to go to church twice on a Sunday the very next day. I mean, your mother this, your mother. I mean, I'm like, oh my goodness, I had to cover up my Catholic ears. So these 3 lot lizards are just going at it. And the friggin' Mr. Pimp is just sitting there leaning up against his little Chevy Bronco, not doing anything. I decided that moment, this is now going to fester. The lot lizards are going to start to bring the drama up to the 3rd floor because, in these hotels, you got 3 floors. I couldn't jump. I would have hurt myself. I decided that's all she wrote. Packed up my stuff, and I got the hell out of there. The next day, I get a text. Hey, man, where are you at? We're all meeting for breakfast. I was like, I left after the pop, pop. Nobody heard any type of chaos, any fracas, any fracas, any ruckus on the 3rd floor because all these dudes were on the 1st floor. Apparently, lot lizards like to go up. They don't go down. No pun intended. Lot lizards go up. So they decide they're going to go on the 2nd, 3rd floor and just start with a lot of nonsense. And it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. I mean, Days in Washington, like back in 2017, I'm done the fights. And this friggin' network stuck me in a Days in Washington, D.C. I think it was in Southeast Washington, Southwest. And I'll never forget, I walked in and I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, what do we got here? What am I looking at here? I mean, it was bad. It was bad. All I saw was like, a chair that had blood on it. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. All right, quick timeout. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up on the other side. Keep it locked in.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Yeah, it was definitely a congregation of roaches. I'm supposed to be back and laughing at these. Hey, I'm just telling you. No, there was no. I'm telling you right now, there was no. I don't think I ate for a day. I think I burned those clothes, to be honest. It's in the Northeast and it's nasty. That's where I was. It was not good. It was not. Oh, I don't even want to talk. But yes, I kept fidgeting like that, thinking something was in my hair. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. De facto knows. Man, I bet you they know about the lot lizards. Yeah. I'm going to venture to guess they definitely know about the lot lizards. I love Q's road trip stories. Motel stories are horrifying and entertaining at the same time. They're bad, man. They're bad. I don't mind staying at, if you're put up in a cheap place or a convenient place, if you don't want to drive or you're tired, that's fine. But, when you start to, have to walk outside to get in the room. And I've been in some sketchy, bad areas, it's nothing new. But yeah, the lot lizards, they threw me off, man. It was like, I don't know if you were to say, your worst nightmare, a congregation of roaches in a mattress just hanging out without a care in the world. And by the way, when I tell you I took that mattress, you don't even know the crap that I had to endure when I had to pick that up. And, you get these little things coming at you and I just boom, right over the railing, or 3 lot lizards fighting. That's bad. That's like saying, that's like picking between the Jets and the Giants. Who's going to be worse? I mean, it's like, it's almost like kissing your sister to watch. So that's the story on a Wednesday. All right, got to start wrapping up. Hey, Joey, you have a wonderful vacation, my friend. Safe travels, and give us some updates. We want to know. Keep the wallet in the front pocket. We want to know. Don't go on tilt. Don't go on tilt. Don't comment on a Friday. You need that wire transfer from us. It's not happening, brother. Appreciate Nick Costco jumping on board, and again, happy birthday to Costco. Always appreciate him. Busy Thursday show tomorrow. Lloyd Vance, NFL 5 o'clock hour. We're going to see if we can punch up Steve Gardner as well. Talk a little baseball. Trade deadline is tomorrow at 6. Also, new episodes of Back Your Play have dropped. Amazon Music and Spotify. Definitely check out the shows as well. But you guys have been fantastic as always. Appreciate you guys chiming in, keeping us locked in for 2 hours. As much as I'd like to entertain you, you guys entertain me right back. Fast approaching 6 o'clock right here on Triax57, Triax57.com. Don't forget to get social. And on this Wednesday, as always, be safe, be sound. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Middays with Q. I'm Rich Quinones. Hasta luego, buen día.